It does too. It opens up my. What's up? Welcome to the Vegas Benchwarmers podcast. My name is Eric. He hate me 702. This is
Jeremy with a G.
And today we do not have Coach Woe on right now. There could be a chance that he joins us later. We're going a little earlier because I got some awards ceremony I got to go to for my son. Like always, so remember to like and subscribe, share, comment. Go ahead and look at Ascensions for the merch. Hopefully they'll be giving us a new shirt sooner or later. Today we do have a guest. Our guest that's going to be on is Lamont Traylor. I know him through my son. My son went to high school with him. He's a Rancho alumni, which he'll tell you, which I'm also a Rancho alumni. Go Rams. But way before him. And I used to call him Baby Hulk. So because of how much food he ate and how big he was. As a sophomore, he was the size of a grown-ass man. So we're going to go ahead and bring him in, and he's going to get to introduce himself. He's going to tell us about his basketball journey. Welcome to the Vegas Benchwarmers podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Lamont.
Well, I'm Lamont Traylor, and like you said, I graduated from Rancho back in 2016. I feel kind of old now, but relatively old, I guess.
Well, I graduated in 2000.
Yeah, so relatively old. Man, basketball has just been a huge part of my life. I mean, I've been playing since I was like 5. I remember growing up with all different types of coaches. My dad passed when I was like 8, and basketball was just always there for me. Just games all over town, out-of-state games. And then, I mean, stuff started getting real serious once I got to Rancho. And, I mean, we were bad. I mean, we weren't bad, but we were bad. So it was kind of hard to – yeah, the Rancho curse, as we called it. But, man, it was tough just kind of getting spotlight, getting people to look at you, and especially like towards your senior year when you're looking for colleges to go to and you're taking things seriously, it's hard to get people to look at you. But a few schools that I applied to or like sent my highlights to that I made myself, they just kind of were like, nah, you're not what we're looking for, whatever, you're not what we're looking for. I was like, okay, cool, I remember that. And then Arizona Western, a guy came out and watched me, and I mean, I just worked really hard. I'm not the best shooter, nothing like that, but I mean, I just outworked everybody. And so he came and just sat in the crowd, watched me play Green Valley. I don't remember if we won or lost, but I mean, I was just going as hard as I could, 150%. And then after the game, he basically gave me an offer. And I was like, well, this is the only offer I got, so I'm going to go with it. And then it was just a huge transition from high school to college. I mean, it was rough. Especially being in Yuma, Arizona. I'm not sure if you guys know about Yuma, Arizona or what it looks like, but just imagine Minecraft without anything in there. And that like all dirt blocks, that's Yuma, Arizona. So once I got there.
Let's back up real quick. Let's back up a second. Hold on. So first of all, how tall are you?
6'6".
Okay. How much do you weigh right about now?
I stay at about 225, in between 225 and 230.
Y'all can't see him, but he is built like a brick wall. Like he literally is built like an action figure. Like when you go and look at a WWE action figure, that is what he is built like. He like literally from head to toe, all freaking muscle. But when you started playing basketball, were you always taller than everybody else, or were you?
Oh no. Oh my God. So I used to be a point guard. I used to be the shortest guy. And I mean, even up until 6th and 7th grade, I was 5'2". And they told me like, hey, like you're too short, you're too little, this and that. I'm like, okay. And then I basically just rode the bench 7th grade. I mean, they throw me in at like, that 30 seconds left and they throw you in, go shoot a couple threes. Yeah, I'm like, bro, I don't even want to go in, but of course go in, throw up a couple shots, whatever. And then 8th grade came. And I mean, my knees just started to randomly hurt. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I thought about quitting because I was like, my knees hurt so bad. I was like, I need to go to a doctor. And then I went from 5'2" to 5'10" in between 7th and 8th grade. And so I went from like point guard to center, like instantly. It was just a real weird situation.
So were your knees hurting because you were growing, or were they hurting?
Yeah, it was hurting because I was growing. Like, it would start in one knee and then it go to the other knee, then it'd be both knees. And then next thing I know, I come home from like my uncle's house or something. My mom's like, "You got taller." I'm like, "Maybe." I'm like, "I don't know." And then it got to the point where I couldn't even deny it. Like, I eventually was 6 foot by my freshman year, and like it happened so fast. And I'm walking around the house and like just fall over because I'm not used to. Like, I feel like Bambi. Oh, I see my coach from Arizona Western. He just got head coach too.
That's Kyle Isaacs.
I'm keeping the faith that I'm gonna get an 8-inch growth spurt soon.
Motherfucker, you ain't getting an 8-inch growth spurt. That's like okay. So that would explain why you have your ball heading skills. Because I have balled with this guy. Just like a couple, real quick to interject, a couple stories. The first time I think I played with him, he was like a junior in high school, and that was the moment that I knew I could never play in the NBA. Like when you're old, like when you get older, you'll be able to say I could probably play in the NBA. But when you're like, oh, I could do that. You give me 20 shots, I'm making 10 of them. No, he put a spin move on me and hit me with his shoulder, and I think I went unconscious for a brief moment. I was like, oh. Like, it was so bad. I had to resort to old school hand check to try to guard him, and it still didn't even work. It didn't. Like, I literally put my hand all in his back, and I don't even think he felt it. It was horrible. It was bad. It was all bad. We got you on in the office in the big screen, Lamont. They got you on the office in the big screen down at that's your coach. Yeah. So then you said you went from a point guard to a center. So is that the main position you played most of the time in high school?
Yeah, once I became a center, I was like, I mean, there was no getting out of being a center. Because, I mean, I thought I was the biggest, tallest guy. And so, they're like, yep, you get rebounds. And I mean, everyone around me couldn't really rebound. So it's like, if I even take a shot, who's going to get the rebound if it wasn't me? So that's pretty much why I didn't focus too much on shooting and stuff like that. I really focused on, I need to get these rebounds, kick it out, like just big man stuff.
Okay.
And then, so once I got to Arizona Western.
When did you get to Rancho, though? When did you get to Rancho? What grade
when did I get to Rancho?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, 9th grade, came in as a freshman. And then we had this coach, Coach Franklin. He was like this big 6'7" guy. He used to always tell us in practice. I'm not sure if you remember Coach Franklin, because I don't think Devin played basketball, but he used to always tell us how he used to play with, like, I think Clyde Drexler, and he used to get dunked on all the time in practice or something like that. It was just freshman year. I didn't like freshman year. Halfway through, I got moved up to JV with one of my favorite coaches, Coach Reese Perkins. Okay. And I mean, he worked us. Like, when I got to JV, do like 10 suicides before practice as a warm up. I'm like, Jesus. And, I got asthma. So, yes. I mean, it was just rough. Like, we're just dying and we haven't even started practice yet. And then summertime came, we hit the track, the Vegas heat. We're running around one side of the track, up and down the bleachers, run around the other side, up and down the bleachers. And I mean, that's one thing I won't miss. That was rough.
What bleachers were they? Were they the bleachers outside, or were they like the
outside bleachers?
Yeah. And in this heat, I mean, even though it's basketball, but still, people don't understand Vegas. It's either really hot or really cold. There's no in between. Yeah, that's not fun.
I mean, it was like July, like midsummer.
Wow. Yeah, that's 110, 112, and it feels like it's 160. Like, that's just the way it is there. Okay, so then you played. Rancho sucked. Unfortunately, they sucked when I went there. That's just what they are. Yeah, so they sucked. But AZ Western is the school that offered you, right?
Yeah, and the previous head coach, Coach Harrell, was the one that offered me. And
they're the Matadors, right?
Yep, the Matadors.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Go ahead. And so, what was it like when you first realized you were going to? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's a junior college, right?
Yeah, it is.
What was it like when you first realized that that's where you were going? Were you disappointed? Were you excited? I mean, how were your emotions there?
I was excited, first of all, because, I mean, things are paid for. I think people have a misconception about junior colleges, like, oh, they're worse than going to a D1, this and that. No, trust me, junior college, like for some people, is definitely the route to go. Because I mean, first of all, depending on your skill level, you may want to go to a D1 or a D2, but then you might not even see any playing time. And then junior colleges, you just get that like close knit experience. Like me and my teammates, we lived together in a small city, nothing to do. I mean, just that bond, I feel like made us a lot better than we would have been if we had been somewhere else where there was more stuff to do or stuff like that. And I just like that kind of, I think it's a good start to college. I don't think it would be as fun going to like a huge college and all types of different stuff going on. I think it was kind of cool, just like baby steps kind of thing into where you're going to go for your next 2 years.
Okay. So you went there for what? For your first 2 years?
Yeah, I think it was like 2016, 2017.
Okay. And then, if I'm not mistaken, like just so everybody knows, you played center for them, right?
Yeah, like power forward, center, mostly center.
You're 6'6". And
yeah, but I'm
down
like
the street
really strong.
was DeAndre Ayton playing for Arizona at the same time, right?
Oh, was he?
I'm almost 100% positive.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I don't know if you know. Yeah, I could be wrong. But okay, anyway, so just to give you the difference, he's 6'6", DeAndre Ayton is 7'1", because he came out of Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I'm not making shit up. But anyway, so what was the biggest adjustment to college basketball?
Just the pace. I believe the court's bigger. I mean, it felt bigger. The court felt bigger. And I remember, I think we had Coach O'Connor at the time. I'm not sure if Coach Isaac remembers, but I always remember he called me in for a one-on-one workout. And I mean, he's like working me, and I'm dying. And like I had to keep stopping mid-workout. And he's like, look, you're not even going to be able to play here if you can't like get through this workout. And I feel like that just stuck in my head. Like it always stuck in my head because he's like, there's no way we can even have you here if you can't do this workout. And I'm like, okay, so I need to start taking the right medicine for my asthma, whatever the case is, make sure I use my inhaler. And basically just, I mean, things just pick up as you continue going on. Like you just get used to it. I mean, as with anything.
Jeremy, do you have any questions to ask him? I got your the Matadors up right now, just kind of scrolling through, so people that do not know who they are can see who they are. What is your fondest memory of being a Matador?
Oh man, we went to the regional championship twice, and we lost twice by 3. I wouldn't say that's my most. Well, that's definitely my most memorable because I mean it felt like a curse the way we lost by 3. That was in the district game, but beating Coach Chiefs was like my favorite part of that. We did it to them 2 years in a row, and I mean we hated them. You know those rivalry games where like you already know you don't like the people you're going against, and so just beating them, I mean, it just made it super sweet.
Explain to people what the regionals were. I'm not. You gotta like you. That's common knowledge to you, but a lot of the people that watch our videos might not understand what that is. So explain to them what that is.
So the first season I played, we did really good in like the regular season, and we were first going into like the conference playoffs. And so I think it was like you had to win 1 or 2 games, and then you get to the regional championship basically. And then so once you win the regional, then you go to the district game, and if you beat the people in the district game, then you go to Kansas for national. I think that's what. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were like 1 game from going to Kansas. Like that was our thing. Like we need to go to Kansas. I mean, I think that'd be the only reason you want to go to Kansas, but yeah,
I've been to Kansas.
Kansas.
I've been to Kansas many times. Kansas? Nothing. Sorry, but I'm from Missouri, so like there's nothing Missouri either.
Oh, and if you want, I can share a quick video from my Instagram of what like a 7-footer looks like, and then what I look like.
Yes, definitely. That's what I'm trying to get across. By the way, DeAndre Ayton did go to Arizona 17 and 18. So basically, I think the same time. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah, I'm adding it right now. Hold on. Right. Got it. There you go.
All right. So this is a video of I think this was in I know it's Central Arizona, but I can't remember which game it was. I think it was maybe the first playoff game.
Okay.
And so this guy is 7 foot.
And you're number 4?
Yeah, that's me right there, and then that's Marvin. He has crazy balance. Yeah, and I mean, we just had such a good team.
That is crazy. That is awesome. Okay, so what was your guys' record when you were there?
I'm not sure I remember the record, but I mean, we were always like 1 or 2. Like the 2 years that I was there, the first year I think we were just 1 overall, like over everybody, and then the second year I think we were like real close with someone else. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Pima. But yeah, I mean, we were number 1 like both years, like going into the playoffs.
You get any personal awards or anything like that? Like, did you win?
I got the MVP for my second year.
I was about to say, I'm only asking this because I know I've seen the picture. You holding the award. So what'd you get your second year?
MVP, most valuable player.
MVP for the team, the league,
I think it was for the regional game specifically. Nice. I think they have an MVP like for that specific game. And I mean, that was just such a sweet moment because I mean, I feel like I'm a real humble guy and I don't expect stuff like that. And I mean, it's just nice when people recognize you for stuff that you don't really expect to be recognized for. I mean, like stuff that just doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Like I'm always willing to dive into the crowd on somebody to go get the ball. Like I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if I get scraped up, whatever the case is. I mean, I'm down for that.
Yeah, definitely, and that's good that you said that because that is a lot of stuff like the hustle stats that we'll never see on a stat sheet.
Yeah,
that you will the boxing out. Even though you don't block a shot, maybe you get in the way of that shot to adjust the shooter's shot. I said shot too many times here. Okay, so what would you say was when you were there? What would you say was your biggest problems that you were having on the court? Like, were you having issues with size besides like the pace, but like, cause you're a center and even though you're stocky, you're still 6'6". So we're looking at Draymond Green type player, or were you having problems with like, were they stronger than you? Or was it just sometimes, just damn, I'm tired of these tall ass tree mugs. Like where are all these people at? Like, I'm sure you got tons of elbows on the head while you were jumping up, getting rebounds.
So I feel like I didn't really notice too much of the size difference. Cause I mean, athletic combined with I didn't think nobody was stronger than me. That was my thing coming into the game. Like I'm stronger than you. And I mean, if you get in a good position, yeah, you'll get me because I'm shorter. But most of the time, if I put my arm up like this, you're not going to be able to move. And so that was kind of so I never really felt like short or anything like that. And then I knew I could jump over you. So that kind of put me at your height anyway. So I kind of, the biggest thing I struggled with was because I was short, I'd have to be the engine. I'd have to be the hustle guy, like outrunning the tall bigs down the floor. And I mean, it's tough when you have asthma, like to be sprinting like that. But I mean, I don't know. Sometimes.
So what were your biggest advantages in? What would you say your biggest advantages were against them then?
I mean, I definitely could outrun them. And
so
I mean,
quickness.
It just makes it a lot easier for everybody else, like for the guards and everything. When your big is blowing down the court with you, like you have somebody to kick the ball to, and then I mean, it just makes it a lot tougher on the opponent's defense. It'd be worse if I was back running with the 7-footer and I'm jogging down the court. It would just make it a lot tougher on us. So me playing my part and sprinting down the court, getting wide, looking for the ball, ready to catch it. It just made it easier on my team.
How was the college life? How was the college life at the Matadors? How was it outside of the court?
Man, I mean, it was Yuma. So my first year, I didn't even have my car with me. So like you got to drive like 15 minutes to get into town if you want to like actually get stuff, like get food. Wingstop's like 20-something minutes from me. So Little Caesars was like the closest thing I had across the street. So if the cafe is closed or something like that, Little Caesars closes at like 10. So I would walk all the way from my dorm all the way to Little Caesars. I mean, I did it like every day almost. I was eating like a 3-meat pizza like every day.
And this was before like Uber Eats and all of them got big, which is easy now, which I bet you wish you would have had Uber Eats back then.
I mean, I don't even think I would have done it just because of how much you have to spend on that type of stuff, delivery fees and stuff like that. But like during the day when the calf is open, I mean, the calf was amazing. I loved it. They gave us like 120 a week, I think, on our card. And then it got real nice when you would be on the road and stuff like that. So you're not using your card as much, and the stuff just rolls over. Next thing I know, like end of the semester, I got like $600 on my card. So I can go into the calf. They got Gatorades, food, chips, candy.
So explain the card.
All that stuff.
What is the card like from your scholarship money, your grant money? Like what is the card?
So I'm not sure about other people, but I think like us with scholarships, I think we get a meal plan. And then I think like other people on campus, like regular students, I think they kind of pay a certain amount of money to get their meal plan. But it's all pretty much the same.
So you're talking about, I just want to make sure, because in this day and age, you start talking about cards, people might be thinking somebody's like alumni putting money on it.
Oh, no.
Just clearing that right up. Like that's where my mind goes, just clearing that right off the bat. Okay. So I remember we did kind of have a conversation after it was after I think you got accepted to your next school, but you didn't know what was going to happen after the Matadors, right? If I'm not mistaken, like it was one of those things.
Well, I mean, I had a couple of schools looking at me, but it's never for sure. I mean, schools will fly all the way out to watch you work out and then just never say anything else again. So, I mean, you never really know what's going to happen.
So what type of schools were coming to watch you work out while you were at the Matadors? Like, did you get were you on people's recruiting list? Did you have an influx of people coming through seeing you? Or was there an influx of people coming through seeing other talent around you that happened to be allowed you to be seen?
So the two teams that came specifically to watch me were Texas State and I think it was Southern Mississippi or Southern Mississippi. So Southern Mississippi didn't actually show up, but Texas State did. And I mean, I'm assuming it was the asthma and like me being tired in my workout, which I always am because I mean, it's just hard. I think that's the reason why they didn't really go with me, and I'm a little bit shorter. So, but he did actually come out to watch me work out, which was cool. But I mean, I never really put too much like thought into it or like get too much like hope into it because I mean, you just never know. I've had experiences where coaches have been calling me, and then they don't say anything else. So, I mean, you just got to always know you're not at the top of somebody's list, or you may not be. I mean, that's cool because, I mean, it's understandable. You're out recruiting people. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I get that.
But how does that feel? Like, I mean, now you're a grown, I mean, you've always been a grown ass man, but now you're a grown ass man. So it's easy for you to kind of look back on it now. But at the time you were still a kid. Like you were 19, 20. And I know like to anybody that's watching or watches this that's under 20, I'm sorry, you're a kid. So like, that's just the way shit works. I'm just letting y'all know. Like 21, you told the lie, but you're still most people that's I'm old. I'm 39, so you're a kid.
I really was super young now that I think about it.
Yeah, so looking back at it now, how much younger you were, how was that like the emotional how was that for like your psyche and your emotional? And I know I keep bringing up the hype, but I'm sure you heard that over and over again while you were being recruited.
Oh man, so like you get super excited like when you hear, okay, Texas State's coming to watch us practice, and you're like, why are they coming to watch us? Who they coming to watch? Whatever. And then you kind of figure maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody else. I mean, it's just a really exciting thing. But when you kind of find out, oh, they didn't want me, it's like, oh, all right, for sure. Like Eastern Arizona specifically, I remember they sent me like, I think I sent my highlight to them. And they basically told me like, nah, we don't need you here. I was like, okay, cool. Went to Arizona Western, and then they ended up being in our conference. And so we had to go play them. I'm like, okay, cool. I forgot which coach. It might have been Coach Isaacs I was talking to. He was like, hey, you already know what you got to do. I was like, I do. And then show up to Eastern Arizona at their place, double. We take the win. I'm just looking at the coaches, looking at the players. I'm like, this is the guy that you said was better than me? Are you crazy? I'm like, him? This guy? And so, I mean, just that type of stuff I love about basketball. Just, revenge and just all the crazy stuff that plays into it.
Because like most of us, like we have our moments, but we will never get like those moments in like a college atmosphere. That was probably a big game wherever you guys were at. The stands were probably packed. So I mean, you probably like, how does that feel to take their heart? Like that's what you did.
Oh,
you literally walked
in,
took it, and stomped on it. You're like, ah.
Oh man, it's been so many times. That's one thing I love about basketball. It's been so many times where I love that feeling of everybody's against us. Like shifting away from the Eastern Arizona game, we played the district game against Salt Lake. And I mean, we ended up losing that game by 3, but I mean, that was such a tough game. And I mean, Utah was rough. The fans were rough. I mean, you hear some of the things. I can't even say some of the stuff that they're yelling at you, but you hear all of that. Like, people are in the crowd just screaming at you. And it just motivates you. And then every bucket, every shot, like, you're just looking at the crowd like, yeah, quiet down. And it's the best. And like the pregame, when you're just in the locker room, headphones on, just sitting there, like you're ready to hurt somebody. And it's just, I would say that's the best feeling ever. I've had that with basketball and volleyball. It's the best feeling ever.
That is right, because a lot of people, you didn't touch on that. You did play volleyball. I have seen this man walk on air and take somebody's head off in a high school volleyball. I'm not joking. I have literally seen him walk on fucking air and take somebody's head off with a volleyball. Like, it was like celebrity death match. Pop. Like, I literally, he didn't hit his head, but the guy probably dug. But yeah. So yeah, he has.
I could probably show one of the videos.
Definitely, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, he literally tried to kill people. Like, if you've ever,
I really did too.
If you've ever seen like an angry person and all of a sudden like hit, like, look at that shit. Look at his arm. Look at this. His arm has a whip action like a black mom whooping your ass. That's that whip action that all black kids know about, the whip action. They don't even hit you like this. They hit you from the side. But no, he's about to kill people.
I hear some of my Arizona Western stuff. I think this is the first time I did a between the legs dunk.
How does that feel?
Brandon.
How does that feel?
You just remember all the times that you tried to do it and got hung and almost broke your arm. And so when you finally get it, I mean, it's just, yeah. There's no better feeling. I love dunking. And, this shows you more of like the Yuma. This is in between our dorms. This is what we used to do. Just everybody from the dorms, different sports teams, whatever, just come outside and hang out.
Y'all really ain't have shit to do.
Really, like, nothing to do. I mean, just doing anything.
So do you have any regrets about what happened with AZ or anything like that?
Oh no. Nah, man, it was great. Like, I loved it. I mean, of course you have, you go back and forth with coaches, arguments with teammates, fighting. But I mean, that's just basketball. It wouldn't be basketball if you didn't argue with the coach, you didn't argue with your teammates. That's what makes you a better team. I mean, imagine a team that there's no issues. We're not mad at each other. We take a loss and we just accept it. Like, imagine that team. I guarantee you that team didn't make it anywhere.
So
here's a video from Retro where I almost died.
So are you?
And this just shows you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh my God!
And this shows you my mindset. Like, I wasn't worried about myself. I was thinking, let me get back on defense.
I saw that you hopped up. No, you hopped up quick as shit to make sure you were still alive. That's what you did. You didn't even check the gun. You're like, well, am I good? Like, that was instant.
At school the next day, I couldn't even feel my body.
I can imagine that. What like, I'm trying to think of like how to say this, but like what would you say is the biggest thing you learned, or the most thing that you learned, the best thing you learned at the Matadors that you take with you in life? Or
I would say I learned how to like lift. I would say that's one of the things. I learned how to lift on my own and different exercises that I could do to make myself stronger. I learned that from Coach O'Connor, because I mean, he had us doing like Olympic lifts, and like I think that's when I really started to get buff, was when he was training us.
No, you were always buff.
But I think it kind of like, I think that's when I was like almost not my biggest. I think I'm my biggest now, but I think that also that you don't have to be Michael Jordan to get somewhere. Like, teams will literally pick you because you dive on the, like, when I went to St. Mary's, the coach told me like, hey, like, I'm going to pick you up. And the reason why is because we were doing a regular pickup game. I mean, it was on my visit, and he was like, okay, do a pickup game with some of the current players, whatever. And I mean, it's a pickup game, so, they're kind of jogging, taking it lightly, whatever. I'm diving at people's knees to like go get the ball. Like, I mean, this game isn't even that serious, but it's serious to me. Ball's about to go out of bounds. I will dive into the head coach to go get that ball. Like, I'm not thinking anything else other than let me go get that. And that could take you really, really far. I mean, it got my college paid for, diving on the floor and hustle plays. Like, I feel like people nowadays don't appreciate that as much. Everyone wants to be Steph Curry and whatever the case is. But if you're not Steph Curry, you're going to get benched because what else can you do? Can you play defense? Are you willing to take a charge? Is a really serious thing. Like, are you going to get out of the way when a guy's going to come dunk on you? Are you willing to get dunked on? Are you scared to get dunked on?
You got to know your role, and not everybody can be fucking Steph Curry or LeBron James. And even though you look like Giannis a little bit, not everybody can be Giannis. So go into junior college. You're done. Do you get like your associate's degree when you're at junior college, or did you get a degree or anything?
Yeah.
Or did you just play? Okay, so what you?
Yeah, I got my associates, and it's basically like I mean, it was like Associate of Arts, like it's like general education kind of thing, and then you get into specific stuff in like your next 2 years. Okay. So I got that. So, I mean, this graduation it's in Arizona, so we're on a field, and there's like 3 different schools graduating at one time. It's like NAU, Arizona State, something like that. And I mean, this is just like a side note. I fell asleep during the graduation because it was so hot outside, and I'm sitting on the thing, and they start calling names, and then I woke up. Oh, yeah. I think Yuma's sunniest city on earth. Something like that. But yeah, I got my associates.
So you got your associates. So who was just quick? Do you have any like teammates that you want to shout out, or anybody you want to shout out? Because we're going to move on to the next part of your career. So do you have anybody you want to shout out from the Matadors in case you know?
Man, my boy Isaac. I think he played with me my first year. Torrin, I mean, one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen. Like, we had shooters. Daryl, he played for Mojave out here in Vegas. We just had a lot of people. Some of the younger guys. Sincere.
Daryl? Did he go to Von Tobel?
Daryl Adams. Yeah.
Daryl that played with Devin at Von Tobel. Okay. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. Andre Jones, he's basically like Blake Griffin.
That's kind of how I describe you when I talk about when we play.
I mean, just a lot of guys.
Okay, so what? Go ahead and talk about your recruitment from Texas, from St. Mary's, because you were already going into that. Talk about how that happened. How'd you get to visit? How'd you get to talk to them?
So Texas State and Southern Miss were talking to me at the beginning of the season. I thought, like, man, it'd be cool to be signed already before your season even starts. And I mean, that didn't happen. So we started going through the season. And then the 2 teams, Alabama State was talking to me for a while, but that kind of fell off. And then it came down to 2 teams. It was Montevallo, which is in Alabama. And I mean, when they started explaining that to me, that was kind of the reason I didn't want to go there already, because I was like, Alabama, they were like, it's only like 2 hours from there. I was like, okay, you said enough. And then
flyover state.
Yeah, and so St. Mary's was the other school, and they're like, hey, come down, take a visit, whatever. I came down, and first thing they brought me down to was a huge festival called Oyster Bake, and I'm like, wow, like I'm sold already. And then I start looking around, I see the dorm. I'm like, oh, you're gonna stay in this dorm? Oyster Bake is like, so our campus is a regular school campus, and then it turns into like a huge festival, rides, and Mike Jones performed one year, and I mean, it got crazy. There's so much food and just people, and it got crazy.
And you had never seen nothing like that, right?
Never seen nothing like that. And so this is what I came into, and they're like, hey, yeah, you can come here if you want. I'm like, say less. Where do I sign? And so then they're taking me on tours of the campus, and I'm seeing the dorm that I'm going to stay in. First of all, there's a pool outside, lounge chairs, hammocks. The like, it looks like a hotel. The dorm room is called Perigo that I was gonna stay in. I'm like, okay, where do I sign? I'm like, you don't even have to show me anything else. But then we actually did like Oyster Bake. Like, they gave me the tickets and stuff, riding rides. And Sky was one of my teammates who I mean, he's like an elder, and we would he was like in charge of me basically, and I'm going around with him. He's showing me different stuff, showing me his room, and talking to me about different stuff. And I mean, at that point, I'm like, San Antonio is almost like Vegas. I want to be here. This feels like home. I want to be here. And so I told Montevallo, I was like, I don't even want to waste your guys' money for you to like fly me down, and like I don't want to be a waste of time for y'all. So I mean, I'm gonna just let you know right now that I'm going with St. Mary's, so you don't have to keep worrying about it. Because I cannot. I mean, you know me. I would not want to be in Alabama, 2 hours away from an airport. I don't even know what's in Alabama, to be honest with you.
Look, listen. Alabama and Southern Mississippi. I'm not going to either one of them states anytime. Nope. I don't care if you playing basketball, baseball. I'm not going any place where people drive around regularly with Confederate flags. I'm just not doing it. That's just.
I mean, Texas isn't too far off, but San Antonio was.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
But, yeah.
Houston, like you got Houston. So I mean, okay, so. Yeah. So what was the biggest differences from going to the Matadors, AZ Western, to St. Mary's? Like just from like a culture standpoint, the money standpoint, a JC to a Division II school standpoint, like what would you say were your differences? The major differences you saw?
So with basketball, as crazy as it sounds, the pace picked up again, and I mean, the court somehow got bigger. I don't know how. Got bigger.
Oh, wait. When you're talking about pace, you're talking about the speed of the game for people that don't understand.
Yeah, the speed of the game and speed of the game and just different things to learn that I learned at AZ Western and that worked for JUCO but didn't work in D2. Like I think in JUCO, I can't remember exactly all the stuff we ran, but I got to St. Mary's, they were like, no, you need to do this way, or you need to do this way. And just having different coaches and different mindsets and how that works. And then as far as the city, I mean, complete culture shock. Not culture shock because I'm from Vegas, but going from Yuma to a place where I can walk to a McDonald's or walk to anything. I can't walk to nothing in Yuma other than Little Caesars. So, I mean, that was a huge difference. It's crazy having that.
You went from Vegas where everything's open all the time to a fucking closed ass little itty bitty town. Back to some place that's open so all the time. So you got like you got all you were sandwiched in between. You were like, oh man, I forgot what it was like to get McDonald's on a regular basis.
Yeah. And I mean, St. Mary's isn't even that big of a campus, but I mean it's a lot bigger than Arizona Western is. And I mean, and then you're in Texas. Yeah, it's a Catholic school. So that was weird too. I almost didn't want to go because I mean they told me I was gonna like have this God class, and like I thought in my head I thought they were bringing me to church as a class, and I was like, I don't really want to do that when I come there, but I mean it is what it is. Another difference is I mean it's Texas versus the desert, so humidity was a huge factor. It's not dry like Vegas and Yuma. It's like, oh my God, I can't even put lotion on because I'm gonna just sweat it off instantly. And that was a huge factor for me too with my asthma. Like it made it a lot worse, the humidity. Random like trees and pollen and yeah, I didn't like it. That aspect of it.
Wait, what was the God class? What exactly was the God class?
I actually ended up loving it. I mean, it was it's basically a core class that everyone has to take, and I mean they do teach you about the Bible and different things, but I had this African guy as my teacher, a short African guy. I mean, he just made it fun. I could see how it could be boring and preachy, but I mean, he genuinely taught me things that I didn't know and that were really interesting to learn. I can't really think of everything on the spot, but
no, I just wanted to know what it was because, like, I was like, when you said, I was like, oh wow, that is either that's
they actually had like 2 chapels on campus.
Or it's a religion, like, or it's a cult, like one of those two things.
And they only teach you Catholicism, like they won't teach you anything outside of that. I mean, he kind of referenced a few other like religious things, but specifically they want you to learn what they want you to learn. So, yeah. Okay.
So, you talked about how everything. So, what was the culture like in Texas? Like did you go anyplace else in Texas besides San Antonio? Did you get to go to Houston, Austin? Of course you did.
I went to Houston, but it wasn't Yeah, I went to Houston, but it wasn't basketball related. We went to go.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend at the time, and we went to go see a baseball game. And I mean, we went a lot of places for basketball. I'm trying to think. We definitely went to Austin because that's where we played St. Edwards.
Okay. So we
even went to like Oklahoma and stuff.
So what was the differences like? Because I mean, I don't know if you've been to a lot of these places before, but like that's a huge culture shock. Like you said, with going to Oklahoma, in some places is a lot different than going to Vegas or Arizona. Even going to Houston or San Antonio, like culturally, how was that? Were you ever like, did it change your thought process on how Texas was or Oklahoma was or stuff? Because we're from the West Coast, so we think they're all dumb down there. So I mean,
all I knew about Texas was from SpongeBob and Sandy Cheeks. That's all I knew about Texas. And I mean, so I don't think it was too far. I'm not gonna say people in Texas are dumb, nothing like that. But how much open space it is in Texas and how big Texas is, you can't conceptualize it until you've actually driven through Texas, and it's taking you a couple days and you're still not out of Texas, and you're just like on the bus driving through just whatever kind of random stuff. Like that's when you really know you're in Texas. So yeah.
Okay, so how was it at like, I already kind of know this, but because you guys were so close to San Antonio, did you happen to ever like talk to any San Antonio people? Like, did you ever get any like Spurs gear?
We did. And Arija, she played for the women's team. She's really good. She worked for the Spurs, and she brought us some Spurs gear to the dorm room one time. And I'm like, what? And so she brought a bunch of it for like me and my teammates, and nobody else was around except me. So I'm like, okay, I'm grabbing the best stuff for me. I like this shirt, these shorts, whatever. And I mean, Gabe, he was another manager. I think he got us some socks from the Spurs. Those socks that you were telling me about, like the most comfortable socks, I still have them. I love those socks.
He sent me a snap, and I was like, dude, I heard those are the most comfortable socks ever. Like, for people that don't know, anybody that plays in the NBA or gets NBA socks, literally from the NBA, will tell you they are the most comfortable socks you will ever wear. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they're specially stitched, but the
padding is like this thick. The padding is like this thick around your heel, around your toes. Yeah, like they fit real snug, and I mean, super nice. And then as far as other San Antonio people, it's like a really like Hispanic town. I mean, similar to Vegas, not as much a melting pot as Vegas. But you won't really think Texas when you go to San Antonio. You'll see more like Latino stuff than anything. And I mean, it was cool because it felt a little bit more like Vegas rather than, I mean, I'm not a country guy. I don't really want to see boots and cowboy hats too much, but I'm glad I didn't really have to be in that part of Texas. But yeah, I think I actually I met this lady who she needed some help moving some stuff with her daughter or whatever. And, me being a nice guy, I helped her out, whatever. And she's like, oh, by the way, we have season like tickets to the Spurs. Whenever we don't go, here, you can have these tickets. And I'm like, oh, cool. She gave me the tickets, 2 tickets. Me and my girl went to the Spurs game. I mean, it's just nothing like being at an actual NBA game.
Oh, it's amazing. I
haven't been to too many, but yeah.
I love NBA games. I love, like, because of the pandemic, but like Sacramento, from Vegas, Sacramento, Denver, not so much Phoenix anymore because of Chris Paul, but before Chris Paul, $27 tickets. Like, I go, like, those are nosebleeds. But I also went to the Sixers and the Lakers when LeBron passed Kobe and sat on floor seats. So, I mean, nothing's like an NBA game. I love NBA games. It's absolutely amazing. What are your biggest memories from being at St. Mary's?
Biggest memories from St. Mary's were, I mean, of course, like all those tough games we had and experiences with my teammates, like outside of basketball, like going to different places. Bus rides are like some of the most memorable experiences because we're on there with the girls and, like people taking up seats, people don't want to get up and we're fighting, going back and forth. And then when we get to like hotels and stuff like that, when you don't have nothing to do, you're sitting there with your teammates, everybody's going to different rooms, hanging out, whatever. We went to, I can't think of it. It was some type of playoffs or something like that, and we played St. Edwards, but it was in Tulsa. So we went to, like, it was all different types of teams, all in the same hotel. So you're seeing, like, you're walking down the hall and you're seeing so-and-so from St. Edwards that you're about to play next day. And that was just a real weird thing, getting up at breakfast and you're going to go see the people you don't like at breakfast, like, you know, the hotel breakfast and stuff like that. So you're kind of looking at people. And I mean, just all of that is an experience that I would never have if I wasn't in college. Like, I'm not sure, like, where else you would even get that type of experience.
No, because you're 100% right. Like, I mean, no disrespect, not talking shit, but the difference between where you've traveled and where Devin's traveled, and by the way, Devin's my oldest son, but we're totally, like, he's been to Georgia and stuff, but your experiences are a lot different that you got because you got to play basketball. Way different than my experiences because I didn't get any of that shit. I didn't get to go stay in dorms and go to Oklahoma. I didn't get any of that shit. So, like, yeah, you're 100% right. You would have never, you might not, I don't want to say ever, but might not have gotten a lot of those experiences if you did not play basketball.
Oh, and Oyster Bake. Oyster Bake's my most memorable experience from St. Mary's. I mean, I think I went like twice. And then, of course, the last one I couldn't go to my senior year because of COVID. So that got canceled. I was, man.
So your senior year in college, you were in the middle of playing when COVID started, right?
Well, no, we had just finished up. It was we had just finished up. Like, I think we had ended the season early because we didn't make the playoffs that year. Like, we barely missed it or whatever, and so we were done. Like, by the time COVID hit, but it was so strange because we were going on spring break, and first week of spring break is like about to end, and I'm like, okay, people are about to start coming back, and they send out an email. They're like, no, take another week, whatever. I'm like, oh, say less, take another week. I'm staying in the dorms. I'm chilling. And then next thing I know, second week's almost over. They're like, everybody's going to need to go home. Like, that's when you started hearing about, like, this kind of flu thing going around. And they're like, everybody's going to need to go back to where they came from, basically. And I'm like, how is that going to work? I can't go back to Vegas right now. And then, like, a few people signed waivers and stuff like that. Like, I signed a waiver, stayed on campus. And then like, more time went by, and they're like kind of trying to shove you off until they gave you a deadline. They're like, you need to be gone by this time. And I'm like, okay. Had to call my mom, make all sorts of types of arrangements and spend all type of money to pack up my whole dorm room and basically leave by that deadline. And I was planning on living in San Antonio with my girlfriend. So, like, I thought it was sweet. So I was already out there.
After you got out of college, you were going to continue to stay in San Antonio.
Yeah, I was going to stay in San Antonio. I was going to get an apartment out there. But then it made it a lot tougher because I had to go back to Vegas. And then I came back to San Antonio to live out there. And then, like, that whole situation happened, and then ended up coming back to Vegas. I mean, COVID just made things a lot tougher. My plan was after basketball, I was going to take, like, the 3 months that I would have left to use the St. Mary's gym and, like, work out as much as I could. Because, I mean, it's so convenient. And then that was my plan. But, I mean, all of that went out the window once COVID happened and everybody got sent home. Like, you can't even use the amenities at the school anymore, but they still charge you the same amount of money, which was kind of weird to me. Like, kids can't use the caf no more. There's no commons, which is like the library area where people do their homework. You don't even get the college experience anymore. You're just online. I was doing biomechanics online. I was doing yoga online. I mean, we used to do yoga in a big old dance room with windows and wood floors. Nice, like, kind of hippie like teacher, and she's putting oils on her hands and stuff like that. Like, you don't get that when you're doing yoga online. What do you yeah, like, you're doing yoga online. I mean, it just wasn't the college experience anymore.
Okay, so how was your junior year there? How was that experience there?
Oh, my junior year? That's when it was like that huge transition from Arizona Western to, I mean, it's almost like a freshman again. Like, you feel like a freshman again. You're at a new place, doing new things with new coaches. And I mean, my thing was just, I want to earn my spot. Whoever's in my spot, I'm going to need you to get out of my spot, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get you out of my spot. Like, if it's a ball that you're not going for, I'm going for it. Because guess who's going to see that? Like, coaches are going to see that. The players are going to see that. They're going to know that, okay, Lamont's diving for the ball every time. I'm scared. I don't want to dive on the floor with him. I'm like, okay, cool. That's like to my advantage. Anything I could do to secure my spot is what I'll do. I mean, and just like help the team.
When you got there, were you penciled in as a starter? Were you penciled in as the bench? What was your role when you got to that team?
I don't remember too much from my junior. I'm trying to think of who was in front of me. It seemed like both years just blended in together. But I think even at Arizona Western, I think I was like new guy coming in, shorter, whatever. You're kind of viewed as like a bench player, until proven otherwise. And so I just had to keep working my way up to like starting. And I don't remember exactly when that happened or anything like that. I mean, like I said, everything just kind of blended together, but just working as hard as you can all the time. And even if you're coming off the bench, just know your role. When you get your time, that's when you need to like do what you can. Not try to steal the show, but do what you can do to help the team win when you get your time.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because those are two totally different mindsets, which a lot of people may not understand unless you play basketball at a high level. I never did. But like going off the bench, coming in as a bench player and coming in as a starter is kind of like two totally different things. What is your mindset change when you're a bench player or a role player coming off the bench to when you're a starter? Is it the same mindset that you have, or is it different mindsets?
It shouldn't even be two different mindsets. It should be, if I'm a starter and you put me on the bench, okay, cool. You got your reasons for doing that. Now I'm in a different role. It's like switching jobs. You don't go from one job to you're trying to do your job at a different job. It doesn't work like that. You have to adapt and be adaptable. I think that's what makes like really great players, is people who can adapt. If the coach maybe just tries out, hey, let's make a 6-man. You need to be the best 6-man you can be. You can't be thinking like a starter, like, oh, I'm mad that guy got in before me and stuff like that. So I was never really thinking, oh, I'm a starter. I was thinking whatever I can do for the team is what I need to do, whether I'm coming off the bench or – because there were a lot of games that I didn't even start my senior night for St. Mary's.
Oh,
and I mean,
which normally most starters start on senior night, right? Like that's what senior night is, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know his reasoning for that, but I mean, whatever his reasoning was, I mean, it is what it is. Let the other guys play. When I get in, I'm gonna do my thing, and that's just the mindset you got to have. You can't be bitter towards anybody or upset that you didn't start on this night, didn't start on that night. And I think that's what makes great teams, when you have a bunch of like-minded guys that think like that. You can put anybody anywhere.
I think that's great advice, because a lot of young people need to hear that. That is very good advice. Like you can't get, even though you have an idea of where you're supposed to be at, you can't get upset at that. You just got to be ready and prepared and come in and do your best. I think that's great advice. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
One guy I didn't mention was my roommate from freshman year at Arizona Western was Chris Famous. And he was the first person I met at Arizona Western. And that was going to be my roommate, teammate, everything like that. He was just like me, but he was a shorter, like stockier kind of guy. And not stockier than me, but he was short and kind of stocky. And I mean, he would just play really hard defense. I mean, he'd be fouling sometimes, but play really hard defense, dive on the floor, whatever he could do to get in your head. Like if he gets put on the bench, he don't care. He gets put as a starter, he don't care. Like sometimes he would even play like almost a big man role depending on what we needed to do. And I mean, it doesn't affect him, and it makes it a lot easier for coaches to put him in certain places. If the coach want to put him at a 4, they put him at a 4, and he's gonna toughen up, and he's gonna play you how he needs to play you. He isn't like pretty boys. Oh, I only shoot. I don't do this. I don't do that. Like he's a do everything you can kind of guy to get the dub. So I think there needs to be a lot more players like that.
Well, they do, but I mean, I haven't been to this system. I'm an old guy, but the way I've seen coaches in certain systems and what I saw in junior high and even some in high school is you get that one superstar and you feed him the ball. And so everybody else has that idea that you need that superstar. Like you see that in AAU teams, young high school teams, like maybe not in yours, but like junior high. At Von Tobel, they had one dude that got the ball. That was it.
That was me with volleyball.
Yeah. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's kind of how they do that. Like, and I think.
And then it's like, what do you do if I get hurt or whoever the superstar is gets hurt? And then that's what you experience in college. Like, we had a lot of injuries. I mean, people you wouldn't expect to get injured, getting injured. You have 3 big men getting injured. What do? Where do your guards fit in? Your small forwards, what are they going to do? Are they going to man up and play big, or are they going to continue to play what they play, and then we're just going to get dominated? So that's why I was saying, like, yeah.
Speaking of injuries, did you suffer any injuries while you were in college? Like any major injuries or anything like that?
I was fortunate enough to only have small things like cramps and stuff like that. But everything started to catch up my senior year of college. Like at St. Mary's, I started to – you'll have like a hamstring injury, but you'll continue to play because you're a player and you don't want to sit out, or you'll come back too early. And then you're overcompensating on your other side because this side is weak, and then you mess up this side and strain something over here. So I started getting little like tic-tac injuries like that, and it just kind of piled up. Like your knee randomly hurting before a game, and you don't know what to tell the trainer because you're like, my knee just hurts. I don't know what to tell you. And they're like, well, you can sit out, and you're like, no. Like, that's not an option.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I never had, thank God, no major like ACL, nothing crazy. So I'm glad I didn't have any of that.
Yeah, because that's. So what was your thought process going into like your senior year? Like, were you, because I mean, for like, you're at that point in time where a lot of people end in high school where you don't know if there's a next step beyond here. Were you getting like people calling you, overseas people? Were you getting like G League offers? Did an agent ever contact you? Like, how did that transpire?
I had a few people trying to like get me to like play overseas and offering me different stuff. But I mean, just for me and my experience, I knew that physically it was taking a toll to where I didn't want to continue. Like with my asthma and stuff like that, I did not want to, like I had done it for so long that I knew after my senior year, that was going to be it. Cause I mean, there'd be practices where I'm like tearing up cause it hurts so bad. And I'm like, you know what? I still got to do what I got to do. And I mean, just that feeling alone, like feeling like a fish out of water. I don't think people really understand that when you talk about asthma, but it really feels like you're a fish out of water and you can't breathe. Like imagine not being able to breathe, but somebody telling you, hey, like you need to go sprint, you need to go run, jump, dive on the floor. And so doing that every day, practices like 2 hours, sometimes 2.5, early morning, 6 a.m. I didn't want to do that no more. And of course, my senior year, like I'm gonna give it all I got. But then after, I don't think I had anything left in me to continue on.
So you're basically saying you knew going into your senior year, you're like, this is it. I'm giving it everything. If the NBA calls me, maybe, but if not, I'm basically because I would have fought you if they called you and you said no. I don't give a fuck about your ass. You get your ass on that table. But
I think like it was so bad that I think I almost would, like, even if it was the NBA, I don't know, like. Man, but I'm telling you, it hurts so bad.
You basically knew that this was your last hurrah. This was your last dance. Like,
yeah, I knew it was it. Of course, I'm gonna keep lifting like I do now and stuff like that. Yeah. But for basketball, that's it.
Just because, like, so people that like, I talked to him offside the podcast, and I got a text message from my son saying that he was being dumb. And so I immediately was on Snapchat. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Dude, they're paying you. I literally went and gave him like the longest Snapchat I think you possibly could.
Oh, that guy that was offering me to like play in Rome or something like that.
Yeah, times 2. And he was so calm. He was like, dog, I don't think he told you everything. And then he's like, no, I just don't want to play. I'm like, okay, I understand. I get it. So now like hearing that makes a lot more sense because I was like, dude, you could go get paid to play overseas professionally. He's like, no, I'm just not into it. So that makes a lot more sense to me now, because still in my head, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You should be Stephon Marbury in it, Jimmer Fredette it. People get famous overseas playing, and you can make a very good living. Okay, so what are your thoughts? What do you look back at like your college career and your whole, because you've been playing basketball since you were forever young. What are your thoughts on it? Like, is it something that's enjoyable? Of course you're happy, but do you have any regrets?
No regrets, because I always gave it 110%. That was always my mindset. I'm not going to leave nothing out on the court. I'm not going to hold back, which was almost like my downfall sometimes, because people would even tell me, like, hey, with your asthma, you need to dial it back to 70%. I'm like, what do you mean 70%? I'm like, how do you do that? How do I not? How do I go 70%? I'm like, I can't. Yeah, I'm like, how do I go 70%? Or like knowing I have my teammates who are dependent on me to be going 110%. Like I can't let my boys down like that. So there's no going 70%. Like either I'm out and I can't play, or I'm gonna play, and that's like the two things. So I don't really have any regrets or anything like that.
And of course, I mean, we've already kind of touched on it earlier. You cherish everything. You cherish a lot of it because, like you said, you got experiences that you would have never had.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any of your ex-teammates from college or anything like that that kind of moved on and are playing professionally, whether it's overseas in the NBA or like, do you have any?
He didn't play with me in college, but Channel, I played with Channel Banks. I played with him back in like when we were way younger, and then he played for Canyon Springs. He went to, I think, play for like Akron or something like that. And then he went to, I think he played overseas, something like that. There's probably a few other people.
Just thinking of like how long that you've been playing basketball. Like, I mean, when you think throughout your lifetime, there might have been a chance that you may have ran into somebody or played against somebody that is now semi-famous. Like I got ran over by Steven Jackson. So, I mean, I tell
we got blown out by Centennial. Troy Brown played for the Wizards.
There you go. Yeah.
Destroyed by Centennial when I was at Rancho.
Yeah, see?
And then and then middle school, Mannion. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mannion Middle School. Zach Collins, Trailblazers.
Yeah.
He was like extremely tall, and I'm our center at 5'10". Guys were sick. We only had like 6 people playing our first like playoff game. We had went like 11-2 that season, and I'm hyped to come to the playoff game. Guys are missing, whatever. And then of course we're playing Zach Collins and Mannion, and so got destroyed in that game. And of course he went on to go to the NBA and stuff like that.
Like as an adult, like again, you're still young, but as you get older, like those stories, like those kind of become fun to tell. That like, I mean, it might be fun to me because I never had a shot at any point in time, but that's like, yeah, I got ran over by Steven Jackson. Like at one point in time, I was like, man, when Lamont gets in the NBA, I'm gonna tell people I got dunked on by Lamont. That's just because like with your hit, like you don't think about it now, but once you get older, you'll start just to realize like maybe you see a lot more people that played overseas or that you played with, and it's just great experiences.
Oh yeah, you definitely like being in a basketball, like seeing you run into people that you haven't seen in forever, and they have all different types of stuff going on. And another interesting story I just thought of was when I got moved up to JV back at Rancho. The coach I was telling you about, Coach Perkins, he's like 5'10". I mean, so he looks kind of short. You're coming in, you're like, okay, this young, kind of athletic, short guy. And he's like, okay, I'm getting on the court. Who's running with us? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're playing too? He's like, yeah, what do you mean? And then I'm thinking, I think he wanted to like, you know, back when it was a thing, it might still be a thing, like, oh, go up to me. Like, go up and try and block my dunk type of thing. Yeah. So I go up, try to dunk on him, whatever I miss. And he's like, okay, my turn. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, my turn. So I think he threw the ball off the glass or something. And I go up. He's about to like windmill it. I'm like, hold on. Like, what is going on? And then, and of course he missed. But I mean, he almost like ended my career before it started. Like, that was one of the crazy. I wanted to be just like him. Because, I mean, I didn't have, like, bounce like that at the time, but I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be doing crazy stuff, too. So, yeah, that was another, like, thing that it made me start working on my legs more, working on jumping more. And then volleyball, like, made me start jumping to, like, a whole new level. Like, it was crazy.
Y'all don't understand the bounce that this guy has. I have played pickup games with him. I think we played a pickup game like a month ago. And like, it wasn't even really a pickup game. You don't play pickup games with people that are 10 times better than you. You just watch them play and hope that they don't destroy you. Like, that's kind of how you do it. I am 5'7". He is 6'6". There is no way in hell. It's like I'm like a WNBA player playing against him right now. Like, and he's an NBA player. Like, that's just not. But his bounce is ridiculous. The way
I could share a video too.
His bounce is absolutely ridiculous. This dude can hop out of the gym, it seems like.
Are you able to see it?
Yep, it's coming up right now. There you go.
So this is
Look at
volleyball.
Yeah, like,
This was
look how
intramural
high
volleyball.
he is. That is,
And then,
and he's trying to kill that guy.
I think this is the first time I figured out I could do between the legs off a lob. That's my boy Jaron.
Looking like a little itty bitty pit bull. Look at that. Like his waist is at the net. His waist is at the net, y'all. Do you see that, Jeremy? His waist is at the net. I have seen this dude. I have thrown lobs to this dude.
And then the best picture I ever have of anything was this right here. This was in a warm-up game against, I think it was Shriner, something like that. I would say this is my favorite basketball picture of any picture I've ever had.
You are gonna cherish those memories forever, man. Those are gonna be some things.
Look at high school.
Oh yeah, okay. You can tell this is high school. You can tell this is high school by this person right there in the middle. That guy right there.
And so this is what I look like at high school compared to everybody else.
Listen, no. He came over to my house one day and he had a bowl of potatoes. Okay, a bag, not even a bowl. Like he went by Albertsons and grabbed a bag of fucking potatoes, and then was like, "Can I get a bowl?" And microwaved them, and said and ate. It had to be like 6 or 7 potatoes, and said and ate them while playing Rocket League. Like he was huge. We nicknamed him Baby Hulk. Like everybody knew we were just Baby Hulk. That's who that is. He looked like a damn 26-year-old man at 15. Like it was ridiculous. Look at that.
And just going down. This is Arizona Western.
Yeah,
this was I think my sophomore night. But look how that's one thing I'll say about Arizona Western. I mean, it was a little town, but they showed up. I mean, all the elderly people, everybody. I mean, the gym was packed. Like, oh my God. Let me find the picture where we won the regionals.
Crazy.
Because I mean, that was one of my favorite moments. So this is what it looked like. So imagine this feeling. That's Daryl right there.
Yep, I see him. Yep.
Yeah. Like, look at the crowd. I would say that was almost a better feeling than St. Mary's just because there were so many people there. Like, you couldn't even find a seat in that building, and everybody's coming to watch you play. I had fans, like, holding up signs and, like, with my name on it and crazy stuff like that.
You felt like the player in 2K. You felt like my player in 2K.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It feels like that, like my career mode type of thing.
Were you rock stars? Like, were you like celebrities in Yuma? Like, were you like mini celebrities?
I mean, I would say, yeah, just because it was Yuma and Arizona Western is like the only thing in Yuma. So when everybody comes to watch you play, like everybody loves you. The little kids look up to you and stuff like that. So you do kind of feel like a celebrity a little bit.
Oh, I just checked the score to the Pacers and the Hornets game.
Who's winning?
The Pacers won 144 to 117.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited to see the Lakers and Warriors matchup. I don't watch too much NBA or just sports in general, but
that's good. Okay. So
I'm excited for that.
How do you get your competitive edge then if you don't watch too much sports in general? Because I mean, we went to play pickup, and you said like you haven't played basketball since basically you left like college, like I really.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I did it so long that like I almost like I'm like full capacity at like sports related things, so I almost don't even want to watch it. Like, I mean, I'm only really interested in the Lakers too. Like,
okay,
and I don't watch Lakers games like that anymore either.
Is it more? Is it just? Is it like an emotional detachment because of like how much like you get the thought process of like, oh man, fuck this shit, I'm done with sports, or is it just like you're just like, I'm just not interested in it no more because I'm not doing it.
Yeah, just disinterested. Like if it's not me, I'm not that interested in it. So I mean, like there's just a lot of other stuff I'd rather watch, movies and anime, stuff like that, rather than me watch something that I did repeatedly for years and years and years.
Okay. Trying to get into anime. Not really working out very well. I've watched.
Which ones have you tried?
So I watched Erased. I watched Erased, right, babe? Erased, that was the anime we watched, Erased. I watched that Netflix anime, Yasuke.
Oh God, you're gonna try to pronounce these names? You can't pronounce regular people's names. You try to pronounce.
She watched Naruto, so I mean, I've seen a lot of Naruto. I've heard of Naruto. I've heard a lot. You know, I'm gonna shut the fuck up and talk right now.
You gotta watch like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer.
That's what Devin said. Devin said watch Attack on Titan. It's like Titan.
Attack on Titan is like some people make fun of anime because they're like, oh, it's cartoony. No, it's serious. I mean, people's families are dying to like these big old titans, and it's like serious the whole way through. Like if you need something to watch, I would say definitely watch Attack.
That's what he told me. So I think I'm gonna look at that. I think we're gonna look at that. She watches anime like crazy, but I just haven't really got into it. So real quick before we get off, since we have you and we were talking about the Lakers Warriors game, who do you think wins?
Well, Lakers.
Okay.
Got to go. But Steph Curry is ridiculous. I mean, please, kids, if you're watching, I'm not going to say don't try to be Steph Curry, but don't think you are him because there's only one of that man. Don't pull up from the logo. You will get bent. You're going to get bent. Say it.
Don't listen. I'm going to say it. I did coach sports for like 3 or 4 years, and I had a very simple rule. If you are open, you can shoot. But if you're not open and you do a step, no, not everybody. There's a reason why only Steph Curry and Damian Lillard really are the only ones that hit logo shots on a consistent basis because they're the only ones.
They've proven that they can do it too.
And they're the only ones that have a green light to do that. Rewind Steph Curry's highlights from his early part of the career. He was not taking logo shots. He's taking logo shots now because he's on the right after winning the championship and MVP. That's why kids, don't do that shit. Learn exactly what he said. Work on hustle plays. Work on getting rebounds. Work on diving on the ground. Work on knowing your role. Because sooner or later, if you do that good enough, that's going to keep you on a team a lot longer than trying to be Stephen Curry or LeBron James or Damian Lillard.
Mentally knowing what you're doing on the court.
Have you
plays and knowing different spots that you need to be at different times on a fast break, knowing to go wide, not right next to the guy. Yeah, IQ. Work on your IQ and things like that rather than Kobe, and then you're bricking a shot off the backboard and now you're sitting down and your parents are mad. Like, don't go that route.
You are 100% right. Like, you could get a great career if you happen to be able to shoot as good as Steph Curry. But you know what? There's a guy named Jimmer Fredette that is not in the NBA. And he tried to shoot like Steph Curry, and he got away with that at Utah or BYU. But when he got to the NBA, they were like, nope, get your ass out. He's still making a good career, but he's 100% right. Take care of your fundamentals, understand your role, get your IQ. Those things will get you on a team when your ability or your talent is not there at that level. They will keep you on a team. Kwame Brown was the #1 overall draft pick. But he played 12 years. He didn't have like the everything everybody said. But does anybody remember that dude played 12 years in the league? Like, he played 12 years in the league. Like, yes.
What's his name? Anthony Bennett, #1 pick.
Yeah, well, no, we're not going to talk about him. We're not going to talk about him. That was a bad draft. No, come on, stop. And stop. Victor Oladipo has been traded 4 fucking times. He was the #2 overall pick. Just leave that draft alone. But even then, he hard work G League. He went to the G League and he started playing for the Rockets last year. I think he was playing for the Rockets in the bubble. He's 100% right. Don't try to be Steph Curry. Try to be the hardworking guy. Try to be the Tony Allens. Try to be even the Draymond Greens. Like, he knows his role. He will never he'll have his nights at 20 to 30 points, but on a regular basis, he averages 10 to 12 and gets his rebounds. Dennis Rodman, most games with 0 points and 20 rebounds. Like, know your role. There are multiple people that have won rings and stuff like that. Shit, Joel Anthony, nobody, you might not know who he is, but Joel Anthony played for the Heat. He played 28 minutes and recorded 0 stats. But he won a ring because he was a hard worker and knew what the fuck he was doing. You will win stuff like that. You could stick in the league like JJ Redick and all of them, but there are tons of people that are working on their jump shot, and there are tons of people that will be able to shoot way better than you, I promise. But not everybody.
Even being like half of Klay Thompson will get you on a team. Like, just the defensive half of Klay Thompson. I mean, he happens to be able to shoot ridiculously, but he'll guard anybody on any given night. And if you can do that and prove that you can do that, any coach will be happy to put you out there. Like, you're going against Troy Brown tonight. I need you to go guard him. and you're not scared. You know what you're doing. Like
you said it yourself. You only got on. They offered you because they saw you diving on the floor during a pickup game.
Yeah, I'm not shooting threes. I'm not doing nothing like that. I'm gonna jump over you, get a rebound. I'm gonna kick it out. Like I'm not doing nothing crazy. I'm diving on the ball any chance I get. Like literally 2 things, and running as fast as I can on the court. Like 3 things got me on a team, and 3 things that you never even really think about, but are like one of the most important things. Like my shooters can't shoot if I didn't get the rebound and kick it out.
100%.
Look, everybody playing their role.
It's a former semi-coach that was part-time. Look, that was the most annoyingest thing in the world. Steph Curry, shut the hell up. I'll punch you. Sit on the bench. So, okay. So I think I got the bracket up real quick because wait, hold on. What is he saying? Oh. I got the bracket up real quick, so I'm trying to pull it up right now. Okay, let's see. Will it show? All right, so we got. Let's go. I just want to see. I got the bracket up, and we're gonna have some fun with Jeremy real quick, and you get to.
God. This is why I stay quiet the whole time because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Shut the hell up. Okay, so what do we have? We have the playoff brackets right here from NBA.com.
You remember what I picked? Then in the last.
Okay, so.
Oh God.
All right. So, do you know who's playing tonight? Jeremy.
No.
Okay. Can you see the brackets?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. So. Right now, Indiana played Charlotte and Boston plays Washington, okay? Do you know any players on either one of those teams? Can you name one player?
No.
On any one, not Charlotte, New Orleans.
Like I'm sure Charlotte. If you brought somebody up, I could be like, yeah, I know who it is, but
okay.
Like to ask me who's on what team, I couldn't tell you.
Who's going to win between the Boston and Washington game? They're playing right now, but who's going to win?
Let's go with Boston.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm going with Boston too. I mean, Russ has his moments, but I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna fall short.
So I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I don't know what the score is. Last time I talked, it was a 2-point game. I think that the Wizards are going to beat the Celtics. I really think Jaylen Brown is out, and even though Russ does what he normally does, Russ still makes the playoffs. I can't name a time Russ hasn't been out of the playoffs. I just can't name a time. Like if I'm willing to bet on a 1-game series on Russell Westbrook or Kemba Walker or Jason Tatum right now, I'm going Russ. We gotta have to pull up the score because I could be completely wrong. Okay, next game is on Wednesday. It's Memphis versus San Antonio's. Who's going there, Jeremy?
Hold on. Fuck, I don't know. Memphis.
Okay. Do you know what the Memphis mascot's name is?
No clue.
Do you know what the San Antonio mascot is?
No idea.
Okay. Do you know the coach of San Antonio?
No.
Okay, I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. All right. Okay. So
if I make a pick, don't ask me for a reason behind it because there is none.
I'm not. You're just okay. So then we have the Lakers versus Golden State. Can you name a player on the Lakers?
Is LeBron James on the Lakers?
Yes, he is. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Can you name a player on the Warriors?
Steph Curry.
Oh, he was confident with that one. He knew that one right off the bat. All right, who's winning? Lakers or Warriors?
I want the Warriors to win.
Why?
Just because.
Okay. So you're going with the Warriors. Lamont, who do you got? Memphis or San Antonio?
I'm going to go with Memphis.
I'm going with Memphis too. John Morant is is something else.
He's
like
cold.
in the semi.
I love watching him play.
Look, I'm sorry. I literally wish we would have started this podcast. I wish we would have started the podcast before the draft of last year when Zion Williamson and all them were playing. Because I told everybody, Zion's going to put up numbers, but he's not going to translate to wins. John Morant should have been the first overall pick because he's had them in the playoffs 2 straight years. Granted, it was a playing game, but still. I'm going with Memphis. Who you got with the Lakers and the Warriors? I know you already who you got. You got the Lakers.
Got the Lakers, yes, sir.
Look, I'm going Lakers straight up. They have nobody that can stop LeBron or Anthony Davis. Steph Curry can score 70 points, and they're still going to lose. There's nobody that can, and they don't. Who's going to stop LeBron? Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. Who's going to stop him? Draymond?
I got a good question for you.
What?
So, who do you think has more to do with wins, the staff or the players? Because I know that's kind of a big debate amongst teams.
Oh, we talking about basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the players.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that.
This is the reason why. If you have Greg Popovich as your coach, who is the coach of the Spurs, Jeremy, if you have Phil Jackson and you are a superstar, as in Kobe or Jordan, that's a different. If you were playing the Spurs versus the Lakers at that time frame when they had Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Shaq, Kobe on the other side, it's coaches. When you get into those games are coaches. Those are in-game.
When the talent is even.
Yeah. The Milwaukee Bucks against the Toronto Raptors with Kawhi Leonard, coaches. The Miami Heat against the Bucks last year, coaches. Those are in-game adjustments and adaptability that we already know what's going to happen. But when you're talking about regular season or just a superstar player coming to that, there's a reason why every team LeBron goes to ends up in the fucking finals. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Mike Brown, who was the European coach that he had, Eric Spoelstra, Frank Vogel. It don't matter. Everybody he ends up in the final. Like Jordan ended up in granted it was Phil Jackson, but when you go top tier, if you have the Sixers versus the Nets, and let's say the playoffs, and the Lakers versus the Clippers. Those are all coaching adjustments. The superstar shit is drawn. Yeah, the last couple minutes, yes, yeah. LeBron may do his thing. But that is all whoever has the better coach, and coming from a Sixers fan who's had Brett Brown for a couple years, you know what adjusts. You can tell the difference between coaches. But mostly, if we sucked, if we didn't have Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, we'd still fucking suck, whether we had Doc Rivers or not. That's just
I definitely agree with that.
Like Greg Popovich is a great coach, but he has not been a great coach since Tim Duncan left and Kawhi left. Like it's just you got to have superstars to be a great coach. You got to have that talent level to be able. No great coach has won without any talent. None. You got to have that. That's just my opinion. Jeremy, what do you think about that?
I mean, I agree, but I think it's like that in pretty much all sports except for. Soccer, I guess.
I don't know. Football, I don't know. Football, I think is completely different. Football, I think you don't have to have great players to win. You can have very, very good players. But it's just on that stream. Like when the Bears went to the playoffs and played the Colts, who the fuck was there? Who was their great players? Brian Urlacher, the linebacker. Like they had. I'm not saying their coaching was great, but they just had that great. Everything fit together. They didn't have a great nucleus of superstars. They just had everything worked. When the Baltimore Ravens won their Super Bowl against the Giants, and even against the last one they won, yeah, they had Ray Lewis, but. Outside of that, they really didn't have many great players. They had Harbaugh and the Bellick guy beforehand. Like, I think in football, you can have great players and still have fucking shitty coaches and never win. Look at Dan Marino. I mean, you get what I'm
I
saying.
got another question for you too.
Go ahead.
So, what do you think about people criticizing LeBron? I mean, back when he was like, I think it was like 3-6 in the finals, and now he's 4-6. My point of view on it is that man has been to the finals more than some of your favorite teams. So I don't think criticizing on someone who lost in the finals versus your team who didn't make the playoffs, I don't think he should be criticized for that. What do you think about that?
So this is the issue that comes from the same issue that you have with when you have a group of that to me that's more generation. I honestly think, and not even just most teams, most fucking players outside with how many players that have gone through the NBA outside of the 1950s and 60s fucking Celtics. There is not an NBA player that went to 8 straight finals. Not one. Not one. Go ahead. Check the stats. I'll wait. It's not going to fucking happen. He's got, yes, he's been through more teams. Besides the Celtics and the Lakers, yes, the Bulls, they won 6. That's it. He's been to more finals than the Bulls. Besides the Celtics, Lakers, and probably the Spurs.
And the way he went back to Cleveland and won,
look,
that was crazy.
The issue that you have is, and I can tell you this right now. People are going to talk shit, but I'm old enough to remember not everybody liked Michael Jordan. I remember sitting in a weight training class as a junior in high school having an argument with my weight training coach because Michael Jordan shot 40 shots and how he was a ball hog. That's when you have greatness like him, you're going to have those haters. Is going to 9 finals better than winning 6? Yes. But will he ever be the GOAT? No.
You say you don't think LeBron will be the GOAT?
No. And this is the reason why. This doesn't even have to do with on the court shit. If I was picking a squad right now and you said I had first pick and I had my choice of Michael Jordan or LeBron James to start a franchise with, or to take a team with, or in a fucking pickup game, I am picking LeBron James 9 times out of 10, unless Michael Jordan gives me that stare. But LeBron does not have the impact on basketball that Jordan had.
Oh yeah, he was Black Jesus.
And that's the issue. Outside of a basketball court, you can't separate his impact that he had. Motherfucker, the finals were still tape delayed in the 80s. They were tape delayed in the 80s. That means you didn't watch them live. You watched them after they happened at a later time on a tape, on TV, the broadcast. Not that I taped it. No, ABC chose to play a different show while the finals was being played. So they would play them after the finals already happened. You would watch the finals after it literally already happened. If you were at the game, you could watch the game and then go home and watch the game again on TV because they didn't play it live. Then Jordan showed up and it was, yes, Magic, Bird helped all of that shit. But I don't remember kids saying, I want to be like Magic or Bird. There's not a Gatorade commercial called I want to be like Magic. It's I want to be like Mike. There is not a logo. Every kid stuck their tongue out. I played pickup games. Every grown adult had their tongue out. Everybody had that. You don't see that. There was a consensus that LeBron was Michael Jordan was the greatest globally.
So you think the GOAT debate goes off the court as well?
Yeah, of course. You have to, because you have to do impact. We have to talk about impact in that decision. Yes, basketball-wise, LeBron would probably beat Jordan. He's 6'9", 260 pounds. In this day and age, he's faster on a team. LeBron does way more things on a team. In a one-on-one game, Jordan's probably going to kill him. But if you took the 96 Bulls against the Miami Heat, it's going to be a great game, but LeBron's team probably wins. He's going to make sure to do the extra shit to win. He's not going to be down by, that's just my opinion. But when it comes to the GOAT impact, Jordan had fucking nobody had shoes. Can we not forget? Nobody had shoes. Nobody, they were still wearing Chuck fucking Taylors. Nobody had shoes. like the impact that he had. Like he showed an episode of The Last Dance in the middle of the pandemic, and it's the most watched thing. Netflix bought that shit after you could watch it consistently. You will never see that happen with LeBron. Like his impact was just so globally big and so great
and then
for
Space
basketball.
Jam.
Yeah, I mean, and then LeBron, like Jordan never would be able to do with a lot of things that LeBron could do. Like in my opinion, like I don't think he would have ever been able to go to 8 finals. We saw in The Last Dance after those 2 back-to-backs, he was fucking exhausted. He was like the way the energy is, the way LeBron spends $1 million on his body. Jordan smokes cigars. Like LeBron spent $1 million a year on his body. Like he worships this like a temple. Like, but if we're talking about the greatest of all time, it has to do outside of the court. It has to do impact. It has to do with the next generation. Like, yeah, you have multiple people saying, I want to be LeBron, but nobody's finding the next LeBron. Like when you were younger, they were talking about the next Jordan. You're not going to find in 15 years another athlete that is as good or maybe even better as Jordan that took all of Jordan's shit and still became great. You won't find that with LeBron. Like Kobe, we literally had Jordan and Kobe, which were identical fucking copies of each other almost. That's how great he was. They transformed him in another fucking body, and he still was greater than LeBron. Like, that's just, yeah. And I'm an old head. I'm not talking shit on LeBron, but the global impact that Jordan had, it's just, basketball's not what it is without Jordan.
Yeah, I definitely think you put it perfect. Like, if the GOAT debate brings in the impact off the court, then it's Jordan. But then, like, just on the court GOAT debate, then it's LeBron type of thing.
And that's the thing. When we're talking about GOATs, we're not talking about average people. We're talking about the greatest of all time. So you've got to encompass other shit than just the court. Because if we're talking about just the court, motherfuckers, there's some people that could give LeBron a run for his money that may not even be in the NBA. Like, there are a lot of people, like, you heard Kareem say Earl Manigault is one of the best players he's ever heard, and he never stepped on an NBA court, but was at Rucker Park like crazy. If you don't know who Earl Manigault is, you need to watch the movie Rebound with Don Cheadle. One dude could literally snatch a dollar bill off of the top of the backboard and put change up there as a guard. Like, look up the movie Rebound. Like, look up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, there's, like, that's what, like, when we're talking about the greatest of all time, you've got to encompass their whole entire career and the impact they had on everybody. And that is just my opinion when it comes to the GOAT conversation. Otherwise, then we're just talking about rings and stuff like that, and greats are better than just on the court stuff. Like, LeBron's got the I Promise School and all that shit. That shit's great, but he's doing Space Jam too. That's amazing. It's awesome. But you're doing what Jordan did. You're like, that's just my opinion. Jordan, do you have any opinion on that?
No.
All right, so we are a good hour and 32 minutes into this, so we will definitely probably stop this. Unfortunately, I have to get ready for an award show for Quentin during COVID and wear a mask the whole time and have appointments at school. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so Lamont, you want to shout out anything? Do you want anybody to find you on your Twitter? Do you have a Facebook you want? Do you want to shout out? What are you doing right now? Like, do you have personal fitness going? Are you twitching? What are you doing?
Oh man, so my Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram, is what I'm on most of the time. It's Magic, like Magic Johnson _ and then Mont, MONT. And I mean, I pretty much post like fitness and basketball, volleyball oriented stuff. And one thing I'm pretty much doing right now is, I guess like over a month ago, I decided that I wasn't going to the gym as much as I should be. You know, you kind of get in that habit of, oh, I don't need to go tonight, or I feel like I don't need to go tomorrow or the next day, whatever. It's the weekend. I'd rather do this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to see how many days in a row I can go to the gym and get a good workout in. And so today will be, I think, day 44. So I've been going to the gym for 44 days straight. And I mean, it's been a weird experience because, I mean, like, I'll leave a party early and I'm like, nope, got to go get this workout in. Got to go to the gym. Got to do this. And I mean, I love it. I just love working out.
This is the difference, just to let everybody know, between top tier athletes and regular fucking people. Okay. He's happy about going to the gym 44 days straight. I'm happy that for seven times in the last 2 weeks, I've got my ass up and worked out. So I'm happy for that. And he's talking about 44 days. Like, this 44 days straight, like, he ain't missing any days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm talking about I just work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I take the weekends off.
Yeah, I go every day around like in between like 12 and 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I go at that time because I don't like to be at the gym with other people. People do things that, frankly, I don't want to see, and I don't want you on the machine that I'm trying to go to. Like, people will take a 45 and put it where the 10s go, and I don't want to see none of that. It'll bother me to no end, so I go really late at night when no one's there.
We do follow you on the podcast with the podcast. Just to let you know, you have an open invitation to anytime you want to come on. Anytime you want to come on, we always on Twitter.
How often you guys do it?
We do it every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, normally at 6 p.m. Yep.
Especially when we're doing basketball, so all y'all can teach me.
Yeah, because we have the playoffs coming up. But every Tuesday,
you should bring them on one of the Sundays that we go.
Oh yeah, I was actually thinking about having him come. I just asked Evan if we were going this Sunday because he's going to see if he'll take pictures of us because he's a photographer.
I'm about to leave tomorrow for a road trip.
Yeah, he takes pictures for like Apex Predators and a whole bunch of 7-on-7 football and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my plan. Was the next time we come to see if he could come and get some film for us to put up on the channel. But yeah, anytime you want. Yeah, we do it every Tuesday. Sometimes it's different. We don't know what we're talking about, but just we send it out. We send it out on the tweet. So like that day before, like we did today. And then if you want in, just DM me like, hey, I want to jump on the show. You have an open invitation anytime you want.
Anytime.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
All right. Jeremy, you got anything else to say?
No, I'm good. Thanks for coming on, Lamont. Sorry I didn't talk a whole lot. I didn't ask no questions. No, I don't want to look stupid because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna say your background speaks for itself. Nobody has a background like that. That's an amazing room you got.
Eric used to hate coming to my house to film because of this room.
Yeah, that room sucked. So, all right, with that, we're gonna get off. Go ahead, Jeremy, take us out.
Put me in, coach.
All right, y'all. Peace.